Well, think about what that communicates to your children, right?
Right.
My questions about your day and your answers are more important to me than a text message that just came through.
Right.
My kids have taken to bringing me my phone and saying, Daddy needs to know something. You got a message from Miss Susan, or, whatever the case is. They will bring it to me. And so that must be that I've communicated it's urgent.
Right. Well, then
when I get a message. I mean, that must be.
Yeah. But now
why else would they do that?
Probably they've seen that all of it's urgent, but now you can practice reframing, saying, thanks for letting me know, but that's not urgent right now. I'm going to look at that later.
Is what I do say.
Yeah.
But still, none of us wants to admit what a priority we've made our smartphone.
Right.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for episode 4 of At Home with Emily, a podcast about creating a life you love. And we are joined again today by life coach, speaker, and writer, Susan Brawley. Susan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me back.
She is definitely my organized friend. You're really good at helping me with techniques on how to deal with others and family, and not just being organized, but really living life how you want to as a couple and as a family. It's not just like having the systems, but it's deciding what's important to us and how are we achieving that.
Right.
And so I think, you have creative types like me who would say, oh, I'm just not organized and I couldn't do online groceries because I like to go through the store and see what's on sale and see what speaks to me and see what looks fresh. And it's true. That is how I do it. But it's a killer. Finding the time to do that and then making that all work. And so when we take it back to what's important to our family is where we start, right? Mm-hmm. So time management, girl. Hit it. What do we want to focus on today? What do we want to learn?
Well, I know something you and I have talked about is this battle we have with our phones, right? We always have phones in our hand. The teachers use...
check your screen time, see what it says.
The teachers use apps to communicate. The coaches use there's all these things. And so we don't want to miss out on anything.
Right.
So we have this device with us. So we kind of chatted about how do we navigate time management and managing all the things without always being on our phone, right? So I was going to give some thoughts about that and then come up, share some specific tools and like techniques that might be helpful.
I love that because I think that the phone... Do you not do this where you get on your phone to check something for your kid, and next thing you know, you're on social media and you're thinking, why am I on my phone? I needed to do something. There was something that I needed to look at right now. Right. And so how do we start to put some checks and balances in there? And by the way, they call it secondhand screen time. The kids see you on your phone.
Right, we're modeling.
All the time.
Yeah.
And even though they don't have one yet, they're seeing that you are on it all the time.
Right.
So even though it's a good tool, how do we start limiting that?
Okay. So earlier when we talked about priorities. So, and you had to pick those out and really decide on these. So then I'm going to give you some tips of how to manage your phone, but then it's really up to each person to really do these things. And why do you do it? So you can be more in control of your time and achieve your priorities and have a happier life, right? One is time blocking. Mm-hmm. So setting out what part of the day, as far as like for at work or at home, let's talk about communication. Keep up to date on all the things through email and through notifications in your apps. You need to set when in the day you're going to look at your phone for that purpose and for how long. And you might say, I'm going to do 30 minutes in the morning. Again, this could be at work to catch up on email, updates, calendar stuff, or at home, and then maybe 30 minutes in the afternoon. And other than that, you are not on your phone at all or for that purpose,
you mean as far as like email or text messages or things like that?
Right. I just want to keep up on my communication and up to date on all my to-do items, my calendar, changes in the schedule for after school. But I don't need to be on my phone all the time because what happens then I start having this downfall of I waste all this time. So saying I give myself 30 minutes in the morning and then I'm going to go about and be efficient with my day at work or at home, wherever you are. And I don't need to be on it anymore, or at least for the purpose of checking supposedly the calendar and the updates from the apps. And then I might do it in the afternoon. And you can even pair that with, I will always do that when I'm in car line or we'll always do that
Yes.
when I'm at the gas station. Pair it with something else you're already doing to be efficient with your time, and then let yourself not be on your phone. Second thing is regarding your phone, turn off your notifications. Okay.
What do you mean by that? Like put it on silence? Or, I mean,
like regarding
do not disturb? Is that what you mean?
Well, let's say when you download an app, so like we use the Group Me app, the Slack app, all these apps for different sports and events. You can turn off notifications, which just means it's not going to buzz or ding every time the coach posts something.
You know that you're going to check those things later.
Right. And you're going to see like a little red dot that says, yeah, there's 3 notifications. So you're in control of when you're checking notifications on the app, just like you would be checking an email. Yes. But it's not dinging or buzzing to say they posted something, they posted something. Nope, you just choose when to check in to access it.
Okay.
But you don't have to hear it buzz or ding every time. So it's just called silencing your notifications. Okay. And you can even do that, and you probably may do that with text messages with friends. You've got the one friend in the middle of the day. She may have more time than you. She's texting you a zillion, and your phone blows up. You can go in, silence notifications, hide alerts, I think is what it's called on an iPhone. You're going to check in later, but you don't need her to, get you unfocused.
She doesn't need to know your response right at that moment.
Right. So you can manage little things like that with your phone. Again, it helps you be off of your phone because your phone's not alerting you. So you decide when to use your phone. You turn off notifications. Other 2 tips I would have, they can apply for work or home, is when during your day is a phone-free time. So for example, phone-free time, they would recommend maybe right after school, so you can give your attention to your kids.
When you first see your kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They also recommend when you first wake up for the day, do not reach for your phone. Take 30 minutes to wake up.
Oh man, what about bedtime?
Center yourself at bedtime. So when do you have...
Think about it. What do you and your spouse do when you go to bed?
Well, ideally have these deep conversations, Emily. But I think we all reach for our phones, right?
I think everybody reaches for their phones.
But is that helping you with your time management? And with that, think about phone-free zones. So like at work, do you really need to take your phone into the meeting that you're going to have with someone? Is that going to be helpful to you? And at home, should phones be in your bedroom? Should phones be at the meal or at the table for meals? You decide. But you probably need phone-free times of day and phone-free zones of work or home.
Well, think about what that communicates to your children, right?
Right.
My questions about your day and your answers are more important to me than a text message that just came through.
Right.
My kids have taken to bringing me my phone and saying, Daddy needs to know something. You got a message from Miss Susan, or, whatever the case is. They will bring it to me. And so that must be that I've communicated it's urgent.
Right. Well, then
when I get a message, that must be.
Yeah. But now
why else would they do that?
Probably they've seen that all of it's urgent, but now you can practice reframing, saying, thanks for letting me know, but that's not urgent right now. I'm going to look at that later.
Is what I do say, but still, none of us wants to admit what a priority we've made our smartphone.
Right. Well, I've given you some tips.
It's our most important friend. Usually.
Yeah. So hopefully we can be off of it a little bit more as we're working on achieving the goals and the priorities in our life.
Yeah.
But we also can talk about some other things that you can use in your life, some tools that you may have around you that may involve your phone, may not, that help you with time management, again, to help you achieve those priorities that you've set. So I have just a list of things in my head.
Okay. Well, let's get to that in 1 second. I just want to, my thought as you were speaking is you and I are just old enough to remember life prior to smartphones, right?
Yes.
And do you remember voicemail on an actual phone? Do you remember?
Like on a landline?
Like an answering machine.
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember those days?
Yes.
And so if someone really needed to get a hold of you, they had until you came home to check your, play the messages, right?
Right. And it was acceptable.
And we had a mailbox. I mean, there wasn't an instant thing. And so as you were talking, I'm thinking, gosh, well, what if I don't get back to someone right away? Or what if I miss something? But in reality, I'm not going to. It's going to be on my timetable that works best for our family, right?
Right.
But there was once upon a time a day that not everything was instant.
That's right. And it is kind of an expectation. So if you felt like you needed to communicate that somehow to someone, so for example, at work, you could have a little tagline on your email that says, I check messages between 8 and 9, 2 to 3. Otherwise, just wait for my response. You can say to a friend, I saw your message. I'll get back to you this evening, just to let them know you saw it, but you don't go any further than that, right?
Yes.
So there's a way to communicate that with people so they don't think you've fallen off the face of the earth, because people love this fast communication.
Yes.
But you need to be able to stick to what you've decided and then maybe find a way to communicate that to others.
But you have to do that with your spouse. Because Ryan's big complaint, especially when I was home with the babies, I never had my phone. And he would be trying to get a hold of me all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then he cursed me with the Apple Watch. He got me an Apple Watch so that he could
that was nice
keep
of him.
track of me.
Yes.
But I had been resisting that, right? So I think you have to get on that page with your spouse and, maybe they're a VIP, but everyone else is kind of can wait, or, them at work.
Right. So
let's talk about tools outside of the phone, because we both have said we will put something on the family calendar, and there's so much on there. It's like no one even sees it anymore. So do we have things around the house, or what do you recommend? What's easy? What's not going to take us into a detailed, color-coded, difficult to keep up with system?
Well, I think that your family, or you as a person, if you don't have a family, definitely need some type of a planner, which would allow you to have a calendar.
Like on the wall, or what do you mean?
Well, you can do digital or paper, whatever works. So it could be something on the wall that allows you to have a calendar, but also allows you to put your to-dos. So like your to-dos for the day, your to-dos for the week, the month, just the things you want to keep track of, as well as what the events are. And so in our family right now, we've tried different things. We have a paper one that we use, as well as I use an app. Then it also becomes a digital and goes in the digital frame, and we can all see what's going on.
Like an iPad or similar.
Yeah, something like that. So we can all see. And it is, technically color-coded. The benefit being
of course it is. I would expect
color
nothing
coding
less.
allows you to just, if I'm orange, and I can glance and see where the orange is, and otherwise it doesn't apply to me.
Orange is everywhere, girl.
So,
If orange is the mom, orange is on all of them.
That's right. So, I think some type of a planner, as well as the old-fashioned, when you're trying to manage your time, just make a list. Mm-hmm. A list that you can throw away. But lists are important.
I do like lists.
And here's why. Yes. We carry a lot of mental clutter as women. Like, we're like, I have all the things to do. Nobody understands.
Like
right.
It's
all in there.
Yes.
But if you make a list, you automatically, research shows like it lowers your stress, because all of this is organized on paper. Yes. You can see it. And then when
you feel accomplished.
You feel accomplished. And then when we go back to if you have those priorities, sometimes when you put it all on paper, you can really analyze and go, oh, wow, why am I wasting so much time on this? Or why did I sign up for that? That actually has nothing to do with my priority that I wanted to do, right? But until you see it, maybe you don't even realize that. So lists, old-fashioned lists are great. The other thing is, I'd say if you have a phone of any kind, or if you're using paper, set yourself reminders. Because, I usually cannot remember everyone's birthday in my family, but my phone does, and I am so grateful.
True.
Right? You can also set a reminder so that when you have a birthday party coming up, you set a reminder that 3 days before, you remind yourself you need to buy the gift. Right? So just how can you plan backwards using a reminder on your phone, writing it down? Other things that you can do to be time efficient are just to automate tasks. So a lot of us do automatic bill pay, right? But you also can pull in things like every Monday you do a Walmart pickup order for your groceries. It's just something you do. I'm not saying I do that. It's actually a friend.
Our friend Carol Sue, right?
Yes.
I will never forget. This was probably at least 5 years ago. And I went to her house for something, and in walks the Instacart. This was when Instacart was kind of new in town. So however long that was. In walks this wonderful lady with bags of fresh produce, and I just looked at her and I said, I am living in the Stone Ages. It had to be before COVID. I mean, she's always ahead of the curve because she has a very demanding job. And there were the groceries they put them in the refrigerator. They do it all. Like,
that's amazing.
Bring it in. And so I haven't caught up with her like all the way. I do pickup, but it's hard for me.
Yeah. Because you can't go in and do all the...
I can't do it myself.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Even my mom has told me, which my mom is the same as I am. She tells me I try to do everything for the kids,
Yeah.
And we just can't.
Right. So finding a tool like a Walmart pickup or someone delivering something, again, it's kind of like you're delegating, but you're using a tool.
Not waiting until you're completely out of everything. Just
have a system. Right. And let's talk a little bit about systems. So we're talking about some tools you can use. if you're an app person, I will mention there's an app that our family uses, the color-coded one called Cozy, is C-O-Z-I. I learned about it actually first. I read it in an article that Tom Brady and his family used it. So I was like, if Tom Brady uses the Cozy app, I'm going to use the Cozy app. But it's amazing, and you can put store list on there, chore list, task list, as well as the calendar, and it's amazing. And my husband and I use it together. So you can use Google Calendar too.
Impressive.
Things like that. It's taken 2 years.
Jeff using that. I'm very impressed.
It took him 2 years to put something on the app.
Yes.
Okay.
Good job, Jeff.
But so using an app is always an option to managing your time. But separate from that, we could talk about having a system. So like in my house, the kids know it's not perfect, but when they come in, they take off their shoes and they put them in their shoe basket. Everyone has their own shoe basket, and it's a system, right? It saves time because it's just what we do every day. It's just expected. You might have a system in your home for where the mail goes, where you sort your bills. You might have a system for kind of back to the chores, who's in charge of this thing. And with a system, then you look at routines. Like, do you have a bedtime routine, a morning routine, a make your lunch routine, etc. But once you establish those things, it's not to be super locked in and formal and never flexible, but it's efficient with your time, isn't it? To just have things done a certain way. I don't know. Do you have routines or systems at home that have helped you?
We have loose systems.
Yeah.
But mostly it's just us barely making it in and out of the door.
We're going to help
Every
turn that around.
time that we need to go anywhere, we are always, I don't know how we even do it. I'm like, how did we even get here?
I know.
Yesterday we were on our way out the door, and to the kids' credit, they were in the truck, and so was Dad. And I'm like, well, what about all the stuff?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Someone has to get all the stuff. So, yeah, I do feel that we can improve. And I appreciate you being here today and just getting us started out on the right foot for the school year. And Susan, how can we follow you more for what you're doing?
Yeah, well, there's a few different ways. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Susan Brawley Coaching, as well as I have a website, susanbrawley.com. You can sign up for a newsletter there, as well as I've got free resources available for download.
I love that.
Yep.
Free is the best way.
That's right.
Well, thank you for sharing all of your expertise with us. We are very grateful for it. And I hope that all of you guys have a wonderful school year as we get it all kicked off. I mean, we're underway now.
That's right.
The first
Here
week.
we go.
And thank you so much for joining us today for this episode of At Home with Emily. I hope you've gained as much valuable information as I have. It's been a joy hanging out with you. For the next episode, if you are watching us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one that drops. It's every Wednesday. You can also follow Around the Ozarks on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. And you can go to aroundtheozarks.com and make sure that you are signed up for our weekly newsletter. We'll see you next time.